What is up, my tribal people? Welcome back to another episode clip of Pree Da Podcast. And just a reminder that these are only shortened clips, and if you want to listen to the full episode, make sure you click the first link in the description below. Alternatively, you can type in Pree Da Podcast on all your audio listening platforms. And if you want to catch up with what goes on behind the scenes, make sure you follow our Instagram at Pree Da Podcast. And without further ado, I'll catch you guys on the other side.
Like a zombie invasion, but a flood of people just come flying around the corner, and I'm like, right, yo, I need an extraction right now because I'm fucked.
Big man thing, yeah. It's not looking good, bruv. It's not looking good.
You are now listening to Pree Da Podcast with your host, Majaro.
Welcome back, people, to another episode of Pree Da Podcast. We're trying to get to 100 subscribers before the end of the year, so you guys already know what we've got to do. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, because we're trying to build a community here, and by sharing this with your friends and family, that goes a long way in helping us do that. Now, with that out of the way, let's get into the episode. What is up, people? Welcome back to another episode of Pree Da Podcast. We're on episode 11 now, and our new aim is to get to 100 subscribers before the end of the year. I'm pretty sure we can do that. That's light work for us. And welcome on this new episode is an old friend of mine. We go way back. Man straight out of Levy block. Some people call him Paddy. Some people call him Corporal Burns even. It's Patrick Burns. Gunshots. How you doing, man?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Going on, Midge. Sergeant Midge, should I say? Oh,
yeah.
Sergeant.
We'll get to that. You go by many names yourself. Corporal Burns, Paddy, 96. We'll get onto that, but, you know, that's for later. So, like, the reason we linked up was, you know, I was going back home, you know, back to the end, back to Manchester, Levy block, Levenshulme, for anyone who's not from the area, to, you know, visit the family and, you know, take stock of what's happened since I started the podcast. That's the first time I've been back since the podcast started. So I thought, okay, let me try and reach out to people that I haven't, you know, spoken to in a bit and see how they're doing. And you were like first to mind. I was like, thinking about it, we've actually spent a lot of time together. Was it your idea to go to St. Anne's, or was it your grandparents?
Grandparents, straight up, man. They was like, you are not going Reddish Vale. It's a terrible school to go to. But it was one of them, though. I wanted to go Reddish Vale, you know, I did, because like a lot of the people that I was close with and a lot of the people that I used to hang out with outside of school went to Reddish Vale. But my grandma was like, no, you've gone to a Catholic primary school, you're going to a Catholic high school.
Yeah,
so
yeah, them things there.
That was it. I don't regret it. It was, you know, it's put me on a good path in life, but it wasn't my first choice.
Yeah, so Levenshulme is in between Manchester town centre and another place along is it the M6? A6, called Stockport. And it feels like you're in inner city New York when you're in Levenshulme and they're alongside. But when you're in Stockport, it feels like you're in, I don't know, countryside with literally loads of white people. And for me, going there personally, at this point, I was, you know, starting to become aware of all the racial dynamics and cultural, you know, dynamics, growing up. When I was in primary school, I didn't really feel any of that. But when you're in high school and you're actually interacting with people from different areas some weren't Catholic, some were Muslims, some were Sikhs, you really start to see another side that you didn't think existed apart from your small local primary school where basically everyone knows each other and gossip spreads like wildfire. But going to predominantly white school, but the same people from primary school came through. You, me, those are the football lads. We came through, and because we knew each other, we kind of stuck together. So we kind of stuck together and we made friends along the way. So it was still, you know, it was still playground politics and it was still football politics as usual. There was like two sets of football lads. So the ones from Stockport, mainly the people that had, you know, basically been in the local area, and St. Anne's is like a feeder school for their primary schools.
Right.
And you had people from other parts of Greater Manchester, so like Levenshulme, Gorton, Reddish, people from all those areas coming into Stockport, and you had those people together against the people from Stockport. So every time at playground, it was always, yo, you're on my side, you guys are from my ends, you guys are from their ends. And it was literally like that. It wasn't like any animosity or anything, like, cause we were all, you know, we were all friendly.
I don't know, man. I don't think there was as much with our year specifically, but I remember there'd be a few times where, like, there'd be man from Reddish Vale come down and they'd be at the gates, and like people got stabbed and shit. Like I remember stuff like that happening, but it was usually the years above.
It was years above. Like, they were like, it felt like those were the bad boys. Like it felt like,
yeah,
it felt like as soon as I came through to St. Anne's, there was like year 11s at the time. It just felt like these guys were just on smoke all the time, 24/7. Anyway, yo, you don't want to cross these guys. It's not no cartoonish, oh, year 7 gets picked on by year 11. No, it's like, yo, if you cross this guy, he might come for you. Like, outside school, like, just to teach you a lesson. I remember, it was like my first month. Like, I was just walking and some guy was chatting shit to me, saying, you lanky this, you think you're big, yeah, blah, 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 blah. And obviously, I was always the biggest guy in the playground, usually. But this guy was just older than me. Even though I was bigger than him, he was still older than me. So I said to him, oh, shut up, blah, 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 blah. Defending myself. I didn't say anything crazy or anything. I just defended myself and be like, yeah, you're just not going to talk to me like that. And then he just comes and says, say that to my face, da 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 da. And then I was like, yeah, blah, blah, blah. And then he tries to kick me, and then I kick him before he kicks me. And I literally did not dent him. He did not move 1 second or 1 centimeter. But when he kicked me, I just went, zoop. I just hit the floor and was just dead. I was just lying there, contemplating my life. I'm like, yeah, not trying to mess with anyone older than me here still. So that kind of humbled me.
I remember, I had a similar moment, right? So I remember, there was a guy in one of the years above that I was quite close with. Obviously not going to say names. But like, he used to dare me to do stuff. And I was like, we were mates before school ever existed. Like, we were like lifelong mates, but he was a bit older than me. He was in the year above. And he used to dare me to do stuff. And he'd be like, a day to go and slap that guy. And it'd be like a big guy. So it'd be like, so like, I remember this one time. Do you remember when you used to go up to like English and maths and stuff? But before you had the English, before it moved over to the other side of the school, it was like just above where what was it called now?
The isolation room?
You got isolation, then you got
the
where
office, like
you know you come out dinner hall, you go to the end of the corridors, you take the left, you go up, and you got like 3 stories.
Yeah.
So it was like on the 2nd story, and he was there, and he's just big guy, like he was, and even now, like if I saw him in the street, I'd be like,
making eye contact.
And I went up behind him and I open palm, and I did it for a dare. I did it just because I was a bastard, right? There's no 2 ways about it. I was the daredevil, and my mate had given me challenges.
You were like anything, yo. Literally, it was a running joke. Oh, I dare to go do that, blah blah blah. The person who actually got dared wouldn't do it, and then they'll say, Patrick, I dare you, you'll do that, and then you actually did. I was like, bro, why?
I was fearless, bro. I was fearless. And I remember I ran over to this guy and I slapped him so hard, his head smacked off the wall. Right?
Oh, hell no.
And he was stood there and he was dazed, and he never approached me. He found out who he was. He avoided me.
Why?
Right. Because
I'll get you back. I'll be like, you're just slapping me like that. This
I must have smacked him with some force. It was like, nah, I'm messing with that kid. Right? But like now, on reflection, like that was a dumb thing to do. But this is pretty peak, right? And this lies heavy on me. I regret what I did, and it was a dumb thing to do. But I remember, like, it was almost like, I know it sounds stupid, but it's almost like I became like a little hitman sort of. I'd be like, oh, a day to this, a day to that, a day to piss. And like, when people wanted to stir things up and cause controversy and get people to fight, I was the guy that was sent in to like stir the pot, or if like someone was like having beef with someone, it'd be like a day to go and move his thing and put it in his bag.
Oh yeah.
Right. So like I was like that little CIA agent that would just go in there anonymously and I'd just cause problems.
I don't want peace. I want problems always.
But I wasn't the one giving the orders. I was just a foot soldier, right? So
who was giving the orders then?
Go on.
Who was giving the orders then?
Just usually like guys in the air above and stuff like that. They were just toying with me, like, day to do this, day to do that, and like it'd just be stupid things. It'd be like, it'd be like breaking into the music room, or like so that people could get in, and just not for any particular reason, because people wanted to play on the piano or the guitars or like
drums,
whatever else it was. It'd be locked.
We had like
get in, so like I'd be moving the tiles in the and climbing over the wall and stuff like that, getting fiberglass all over me and shit just to unlock the room, and like that's how I don't know, I got respect that way, right? I remember then this one time, like this became a normal thing. This wasn't like a big thing. It was just be like, yeah, I can do that. Yeah, I can do this. Yeah, I can do that. It wasn't a thing at all. And this one time I got this hit to slap this kid. And it was pitched to me, yeah, he's a thief. And it was always pitched to me first because I still had morals. It was like, oh yeah, this guy he
still had morals, but you still slapping,
so I was like, right, okay, so it's justifiable. Go on.
You still have morals, but you still slapping man up because my man said so. But
yeah,
I still got a code.
At the same time,
still got a code of conduct.
there was a reason for it. It was like, so it was a reason for it. So like, it was, I could always get away with it, which is true to a certain degree. So, I remember I slapped this other kid, and this lies heavy on my heart, and it was a joke. It wasn't actually meant to have been taken seriously, but I took it seriously, and it was meant to be a case of, yeah, day to go slap that guy. But it was like I was very literal, and I still am very literal. So someone says to do something, goes, yeah, he's a muppet. So that was a good enough reason. The guy's a muppet, and I slapped him, and he dropped on the floor and he started crying, bro, and he bawled his eyes out, and he was crying his eyes out, like, and I must have sent him into next week or something like that.
Shut your stupid.
And I wasn't do you know what I mean? I'm not like saying I'm a big man or anything like that, but like this lies heavy on my heart because it turned out this guy was just a nice kid. He was like top of the set, he used to go home and like he used to do his homework on time and stuff like that, and he didn't deserve any of that shit at all. And then I remember one of the guys in our year comes over to me because he was kind of like in on the whole sort of thing, and he went, yo, listen, what you did, and I know that you was there to do it, but like that guy's not the sort of person that you want to be doing that thing to, because he's not like done anything wrong. He's a nice guy, etc. And like he's an innocent kid. He was in the year above me, don't get me wrong. So like it was, I never separated the two. I saw him as a bigger person, therefore a challenge.
Yeah.
And then he comes over to me, and he walks me and goes, well, we need to get you in like an isolated space. So as he said that, and he's walking me, and I'm like, nah, what are you on about, man? It's calm. And I saw half the year walk around the corner, and they're all walking towards me. I was like, yo, what the fuck? So I'm banging on the fucking, on isolation, like, let me in. And I got suspended for that, to be fair. But I deserved it, and I apologized to the guy, and I felt bad.
I think I remember that day. Like, this is what happens in our high school.
It was crazy, man.
Anything that was popping off, there was just a whole crowd of people. Literally a whole heap of people going to one gate or the other, and everyone would be looking at each other like, yo, what's going on? What's going on? Yo, I don't know. My man's just gonna go there and, he's chatting to this guy and blah, blah, blah. There's gonna be a fight. And you're like, right, okay, cool. And then literally the whole fucking school's just at the main playground area ready for an execution or something.
First time.
That's how it felt sometimes.
It was mad. It was actually mad. And do you know what? I regret it. And like, and I really wish I never did that. It was probably one of the most hurtful things I've ever done physically. And I'm not a violent guy by nature, but this was a regular thing. And in my mind, it was just a slap. Like when I was out with my mates, we used to fight and we used to like throw each other about and stuff like that, but no one ever got seriously hurt. So I was accustomed to that sort of.
But that's the thing. Other people aren't.
He wasn't.
Yeah.
Right. He wasn't. And like it hit him hard, and like he didn't deserve that. And that was a terrible thing for me to have done. And I just remember I was like, nah, it's calm. This guy's pushing me back. He's like, no, you need to go. And then as I said that, like, there was like a zombie invasion, but a flood of people just come flying around the corner. And I'm like, right, yo, I need an extraction right now because I'm fucked.
Big man thing, yeah? It's not looking good, bruv. It's not looking good.
But yo, there was so much beef. Do you remember that guy? I don't remember who he was, but there was a video. He had a fight with a teacher. Like, had a fight with a caretaker.
God.
Do you remember?
Yeah. I think the video went low-key viral still.
Yeah,
I think everyone saw that.
Yeah.
And everyone heard about it for sure.
But this was all normal behaviour. Like, I know it sounds really bad, but like, people like beefing with people, fighting, like all that sort of stuff in our high school, it was relatively normal. Like, every week there'd be something. Every week.
I'm not gonna lie, whenever there was like, do you know how like, I think it's Ofcom? Yeah, Ofcom comes through every year. There's that one day that all the teachers are on your case. They're like, yo, you guys better act up real quick. Or don't act up real quick. Cause they were on us saying you must be here on time, no lateness, no talking back. Everywhere's clean, spick and span, no rubbish anywhere. Everything's got to be, and everyone was super quiet that day. You knew the inspectors were in town when the whole place is silent. Like, you just look in the
everyone's
the
well behaved, and everyone's like sitting upright.
Everyone's sitting upright. You can see everyone through the window. It's like a ghost town. You're just looking like bare faces, paying attention. Yeah, that was funny. I don't think we got great scores, to be fair. I'm not gonna lie.
To be fair though, I'm so lucky. Like, and I'll be honest with you, bro. As like a cis white straight male,
You sussy bata.
I got away with a lot of shit. Like, there was teachers there that were like low key racist. I'll tell you something, right? And this is really interesting. I'm not going to say the kid's name. I'll say kid, he'll be the same age as us, but like, I won't say his name. We'll just for the purpose of this, we'll call him John. Okay. So we had this geography teacher, yeah, and John was he wasn't white. Again, I don't want to disclose his ethnicity or anything like that, but he wasn't white, but he wasn't black. So you can kind of guess that there's other non-white people out there, and you can kind of gauge where he might have been from. But it's not relevant. It's just the fact that this teacher that we had was black, right? And there was nothing against like that. But what had happened was we'd go into geography and he'd be like, Pat, the teacher would be like, Pat, have you done your homework? I'd be like, no, sir, I forgot. I'd be like, right, no where he's going. And then there'd be like four of us. The other guy behind me would be like, have you done your homework? And he'd be like, no, I'm a dog, ate it, just taking the piss. And the teacher would be like, yeah, I know where he's going. And then another guy would go in and he'd make up some daft excuse like, oh, no, sorry, sir, whatever else. And he'd come up with, the most obvious, blatant lie. And the teacher would see it as a joke. Mm-hmm. And he'd be like, yeah, I know where he's going. And he wasn't asked. Then this other guy, we'll call him John, comes in, right? And we're all white about this one guy. And he comes in and the teacher goes, have you done your homework? And he goes, yes, sir, I did it last night. And he turns around and he goes, don't lie. I know your dad did it. Get in class and I'll see you afterwards.
Come here. Come here. No. Come here now. Come here now. Get there.
But then he'd do loads of random things to him for no reason. So he'd be like, John, can you hand the textbooks out? And then as he'd get up a few minutes later, he'd be like, John, what are you standing up for? Sit down. And then he'd sat down and then 5 minutes later, he'd be like, John, why have you not handed the books out? And he just...
That relationship was crazy, I'm not gonna lie. Everyone just watched it happen.
There was no reason for it. Everyone just watched it. I don't know, man. It was just... he had it hard, and he was a good student. Like, he did nothing wrong. He was a nice guy. And yeah, like, it was a bit of a madness, to be fair. Yeah. And he got it hard just because he wasn't white. And I don't know if it was because he wasn't black. Honestly, I don't know. But, like, the guy had something in for him simply because of where he came from. And that must have been, on reflection, tough for him, because if like he did something wrong and the teacher was like going extremely hard on him, then that doesn't make it okay anyway. But the fact that he'd done his homework, he was always doing as he was told, he was a model student, and he just got the piss taken out of him by this teacher just for no apparent reason at all. And it's borderline bullying, man. It was wrong.
Yeah.
I think the teacher pulled a knife out though. Yo,
the same teacher?
Yeah, I swear to God, this is the funniest thing, right?
Bro,
so, like,
where am I when all this is happening? Like, I hear, that's the thing. I'm never there when it pops off, but I always hear about it. Like, you can't escape it. If someone's getting expelled because they made someone bleed, or they got in a fight, or whacked someone's head on the concrete, it was that mad.
But I need to tell the rest of the story because it sounds bad saying he pulled a knife out, right? But he did. So we were in geography. This guy was a boxing instructor for a start. He wasn't a geography teacher. Why they put him in our geography, I've got no idea. But he comes in and he goes, right, class, we're watching Rambo today. Now, Rambo was an 18. We're like, this teacher is lit. And halfway through, he pulls out a knife, like this long-ass blade, halfway through, and everyone shits themselves. Then he goes into his drawer. He pulls this knife out of his drawer, and then he's like talking to everyone, waving this knife around, like, who wants some? Right? So we're like, yo, what the actual fuck? Then he goes into the drawer again. He pulls out a Jamaican ginger cake and just starts cutting up Jamaican ginger cake for people.
What happened to the original plot of the movie?
And they're just handing this cake out. And like, it was funny on reflection, but I think in his head, he was just humouring himself. He was like, I wonder what's going to happen if I pull a knife out of these kids. But like, that was scary, bro. Like, we're cornered. This guy was big. This guy was like, he was hench as well, obviously a boxing instructor. Like, he was a big guy, and he was an intimidating guy, and like, whipped the knife out of us, bro.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie, there were a couple of large men who thought they were large, but actually were pretty small.
Like Mr. Large, ironically. Mr. Large.
Yeah, he was the big man, but he was actually tiny, and he overcompensated for his, height by just banging out gym. Like, he was just dench. Like, his suits were like John Cena. Like, when he was wearing suits, just popping out from, his shirts and stuff like that. It was crazy.
He beefed with you big as well.
I remember that. Literally, I'm like, did I really get in trouble like that? I didn't really have any altercations like that. Maybe like a handful, but I wasn't like a problem child or anything like that. I was pretty much like, skating through.
Pretty chill. Yeah. Pretty chill. You were just kind of like, you would always be there, but you'd always be vibing. You'd never actually be the one that was actually
instigating. I was literally just observing. I was just observing. So there was this one snowy night or one snowy day, and for some reason they decided to let everyone
I remember
on the massive Astro pitch where it's just been snowing this whole night, day, and whole afternoon.
And we were all in class. Watching it settle because you could see it. And at the start of the day, it was like you could still see the green, but then it was probably like this thick by the time it got to break. And we never used to be able to be let out on break when it was snowy. Do you remember? Like, we were never let outside. And then I remember this. Carry on.
That day, I don't know what came over them. They just said, "Fuck it, we choose violence today." So they said, yeah, it's fine. Everyone go outside, experience the snow. Right. And everyone's just literally dashing hard snow, soft snow, yellow snow, black snow.
Ice, grit.
Yes. Yo, there was actually stones.
There was a war. There was a war that day. Like, it was like SmackDown versus Raw 2007 Rage in the Cage bullshit. Like, we was in a cage. The door got locked behind us. Like, you could still get in and out, but like, once you were in, you were in.
Yeah, everything was flying your way. There was people putting up forts, like it's Fortnite. So, literally, everyone's having a whole out war. And Mr. Large comes in like his big self and says, right, everyone inside now. And literally, as he's saying that, I'm in the midst of throwing this snowball. We're throwing these snowballs as he's saying, time's up essentially. And mine goes flying over the railways or flying over the council estates. Yours hits like a little kid or something like that. So mine goes flying, but out of nowhere.
That did not happen. You're throwing in blanks. I never touched a snowball at a little kid.
So out of nowhere, an ice ball just goes straight at Mr. Large's head top. Oh! Yo, it's like Modern Warfare 3, sirens going off in your head type thing.
Oh, I can't see!
Like, he looks over there and sees two people, one white and one black guy, just laughing their asses off, pointing, ha 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 ha, da da da. More time, none of our snowballs hit him. It was just, he just caught us straight. He's just walking through and caught us straight. Like, it's just...
We were just there. It was uncontrollable laughter. It wasn't like we were, like, intentionally laughing. It was just the funniest experience because he was in mid-rage of telling people to go in and he just got cut off by this ice ball just perfectly across his face. And he remember he looked at me and he looked at you, and I just didn't know what to do, so I just started laughing. I was like,
So he says, "Oh, you two in isolation now," and we go into isolation. I'm thinking, what the hell? I didn't even do anything. Like, it wasn't even me. I was thinking, yo, it wasn't me. I go in there, it wasn't me. It wasn't me. It wasn't me. It wasn't me.
But she got me on the counter. Wasn't me. Saw me banging on the sofa. It wasn't me.
Literally pleading my case. Yo, you were even saying, yo, it wasn't him. You were saying I threw one, but I knew he threw one, but it wasn't him. And obviously it's going to be hard to believe. He just was raging. White rage.
That isolation room was my second home, man. I was used to it, but you were shook. You was like, I didn't even do anything wrong. Like, why am I? It was
just
here?
the injustice of it all. I was just thinking, right, he literally has no idea who did that. He has no idea. He's just going off instinct. And, people do that sometimes. I get it. But once, we're saying this is what happened, and people are coming out and saying, yo, it was this person who did it, not him. It took him, took them 3 days. 3 days to sort this out. My dad was on their case. He was like, nah, I'm not having this. And by the end of it, when they actually caught the person and they put him in isolation, he even admitted it. He was glowing. He was like, ha. They didn't even catch me for 3 days. Man got away scot-free, and I would have gotten away with it if it wasn't for you nosy kids or something like that.
I would have gotten away with it if it weren't for you meddling kids.
Yeah,
some people probably snitch on him and that.
He went full private investigation on that though. Like the thing that was funny about it was like he took it out on you, but he knew that it wasn't you. So off the back of that, whilst you were in isolation, he didn't rest his case. He wasn't like, yeah, I've got the culprit. He's being punished now. He was like, I'm just going to hold him there while I do my investigation and find out who really did it.
Exactly. That was great. It was crazy. That's some next. It was, and that's the thing. Everyone knew that was what was happening. Everyone knew that's literally politics.
Even the teachers in isolation knew that he hadn't done anything wrong. It was like, this guy's an altar boy. This guy's a model student. This guy's basically a prefect without the badge. Like, he was. But the thing is, you'd always do the right thing. Like do you know what I mean? Like if there was any beef, there's anything like that, you'd be the first person to separate it. Like you always did the right thing. So like everyone knew that you hadn't done anything wrong, but they needed someone to blame, so they just blamed the black guy. I think that's what happened. As bad as that sounds,
because you were there. You were there. You were there, and you were known for doing stuff like that, and it was just like
they didn't blame me.
Exactly. I was thinking,
well, they did, but they were just like they were just cool with me, but they just gave you shit.
You literally beat the case in 1 day. You beat the case in 1 day, and then I was still there 3 days later. It was ridiculous. But anyways, like that was just one aspect of our high school year, all the playground politics with girls and all that stuff. Yo, I'm not gonna lie, romance for me back in high school, it wasn't there. It wasn't there.
It was your own fault. That was your own fault.
It was not my own fault. That was your
own fault. I was in form and I was listening to girls talk about how big your bro. Like they hadn't seen it, but like you were just this beast of a man around.
And that was just a myth. I didn't start anything. It was just people see big person, big feet. That's it.
Yeah, but you have got big feet though. But the point I'm saying though is like you only wanted one person, so you were oblivious to all the people who were like, yeah, what about Midge? And I heard it because I was there. I was like, listen, you can't talk about my guy. Like, I don't need to be here while you talk about this.
Nah, you're
like,
gassing it. You're gassing it still.
People would gossip, but you was just none of that. You was focused on one individual at the time.
I think I was too honest, I think it was too honest. Every time someone, it always came up a conversation. Who'd you like, Majaro? Some way, somehow, even when I'm not trying to get with anyone or speak to anyone, it was just come up in conversation. And it was just, like, there were people that conversation never happens. No one's asking, Tom, who you fancy? Or, Jacob, who you fancy? The guys that, basically are invisible essentially compared to, a tall person, right? So you being that tall person already, there's a target for me being tall, whether they hate it or they like it, is always a conversation essentially. So I was too honest and I would say the person I liked. And that's probably like the worst thing I would do because it just basically everyone took it literally and was like, yeah, that's that one person and there's nothing changed in his mind because that was it. Really, that's how I was. And yeah, maybe I was blind. maybe I was.
Maybe. But I don't know, man. You made it clear that you wasn't interested in people you wasn't interested in. But there was a lot of people interested in you, man, because you was different, you was unique, you was like, just because of your height and your size, and also the fact that you were black. Like, there wasn't a lot of black kids in our year, but like, you weren't. I don't know from your perspective, but from my perspective, you were never singled out for that. It was always like, I mean, again, maybe it is low-key racism, but if we were playing basketball, you'd be the first person that was picked. If we were playing football, you'd be like any sport, you was always one of the first people that were picked because you were just athletic, you were just big, no one could get past you, like, and you did well in class. So, like, you was just, like, well-rounded, and you're not exactly an ugly guy either, so, like, do you know what I mean? You were charismatic, you know how to speak, so, like, I never saw that side of it.
Thank you. Nah, I appreciate that, I wake
up every morning, pray to God that I'm fixing up. Hope I'm never slipping up. Hear the money calling, need my peace to start getting up. Feeling like I'm blessed, but it came with a bit of luck. Feeling like you stressed, then the tension starts to fill you up. Need an intermission, yeah, they ain't the same lane as us. Come from different sticks, yeah, they're not the same range as us. They cop the pleas and top of teas, they're not hitting range with us.